Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandham at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's time for Lombardi Memories, a show that takes you back in time, into January or February, to the greatest one-day spectacle in all of sports. This is the Every Other Tuesday podcast that looks back at each and every one of the 50-plus Super Bowls and tells the story of who won and why. For the fan who needs more than just a box score, this podcast goes drive by drive, play by play, through the most dramatic games in history. I'm your host, Tommy A. Phillips, and you can visit my website at tommyaphillips.com, where you can find all of my books. Those include Nifty Nineties, the stories of an amazing decade in pro football history, which covers this 5th Super Bowl of the decade and the next 5 as well. Today we have Super Bowl XXIX, which was held on January 29th, 1995, at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida, between the first-time AFC champion San Diego Chargers and the 4-time NFC and Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers. If you're looking for the full story of this 1994 season, pick up my Nifty Nineties book and you'll learn more than you ever wanted to know about that year and the rest of the 90s. As always, we have a pop quiz and then homework at the end of the episode. The pop quiz question for today is, which player was the first to win 3 consecutive Super Bowl rings? The answer will come at the end of the podcast. The San Francisco 49ers had been oh so close to making the Super Bowl the last 2 seasons, losing in the NFC Championship game to Dallas each time. Steve Young won league MVP in 1992 before the Niners' heartbreaking loss at home to the Cowboys. Then Joe Montana was traded to Kansas City, and Young had a monkey on his back, as he said. And the only way to get that monkey off his back was for him to win the Super Bowl. In the second game of the season, Young faced Montana's Kansas City Chiefs with all the pressure in the world to prove that he was better than his predecessor. Instead, the Chiefs beat the Niners 24-17, keeping the pressure on him. 3 games later, Young got benched in an embarrassing 40-8 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers dropped to 3-2, and they looked to be in trouble. But that's when San Francisco went on a 10-game winning streak, including a 42-3 win over Atlanta, where newly acquired defensive back Deion Sanders got into a fight with Falcons receiver Andre Rison. The 49ers beat Dallas on the way to a 13-3 regular season record, earning the number 1 seed in the NFC. After an easy 44-15 win over Chicago in the divisional round, San Francisco faced old nemesis Dallas for the NFC title. This time, the 49ers got 3 turnovers in the first quarter and scored 3 touchdowns, going up 21-0. They led 31-14 at halftime, though Dallas cut their lead down to 10 points in the fourth quarter. The 49ers held on to win 38-28, and they advanced to their fifth Super Bowl. Young threw for just shy of 4,000 yards, putting up 35 touchdown passes as opposed to just 10 interceptions for a stellar passer rating of 112.8, which was off the charts at the time. He was also the team's third leading rusher, going for 293 yards on the ground and rushing for a team-high 7 touchdowns. He was named league MVP for the second time in 3 years. Running back Ricky Watters led the team in rushing with 877 yards, while catching 66 passes for 719 yards. He scored 11 touchdowns overall. Fullback William Floyd, the best fullback bar none, as his nickname said, ran for 305 yards and 6 touchdowns. Tight end Brent Jones caught 49 passes for 670 yards and 9 touchdowns, and receiver John Taylor had a solid year with 41 catches for 531 yards and 5 touchdowns. But we haven't even gotten to Jerry Rice yet. He finished 1 receiving yard shy of 1,500. He caught 112 passes, scored 13 times, and his yards per catch average was 13.4. He was also on the verge of setting every career receiving record in the books. It is truly amazing that the stats he put up were regarded as ho-hum, thanks to the ridiculous standard he had set for himself. On the other side of the ledger were the San Diego Chargers. They got off to a hot start, winning their first 6 games. Then they went into a slump, losing 5 of the next 8. They finished the season with 2 victories, including one on Christmas Eve over the Steelers, to finish off an 11-5 season, which got them into the playoffs as the number 2 seed in the AFC. The Chargers barely beat Miami 22-21 to advance to their first AFC championship game since 1981. Against the number 1 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chargers scored a late touchdown to take a 4-point lead, then made a goal line stand with the Steelers 3 yards shy of a touchdown. After that 4th down incompletion, the Chargers went on to win it 17-13 and advanced to their first Super Bowl in franchise history. San Diego was led by head coach Bobby Ross, who ran this offense through running back Natron Means. Means ran for 1,350 yards and 12 touchdowns. The Chargers had only one other rushing touchdown this season besides his 12 runs for touchdowns. And quarterback Stan Humphries, he did go over 3,200 yards, but his touchdown to interception ratio was just 17-12. Not all that great. The Chargers had 3 good ball catchers, but no standout ones. So they had receiver Mark Say, running back Ronnie Harmon, and receiver Tony Martin, who all went over at least 50 receptions. Receiver Andre Coleman had a big year returning kicks, bringing back 2 for touchdowns on his way to nearly 1,300 yards of kickoff returns. The 49ers won the coin toss and elected to receive. As 18-point favorites, the Niners seemed to be in charge of this game from the very start. In fact, you could say the game was over the minute they won the coin toss. The Chargers got called for a face mask penalty on the return, putting San Francisco at the 41 to begin. Floyd ran for 4, and Taylor caught a pass in San Diego territory for a first down. Young then fired over the middle to Rice for a 44-yard touchdown in which the Charger defensive backs were way out of position. It was the fastest touchdown pass in Super Bowl history, coming only 84 seconds into the game. The 49ers were the second team in Super Bowl history to score a touchdown on the game's opening drive. The only other one was Miami back in Super Bowl XXIX. The Chargers couldn't match that touchdown. In fact, they went 3 and out. San Francisco got the ball back at their 21. Young threw a 7-yard pass to Floyd. Then he scrambled for 20 yards. Next, he went play action to Waters after a fake to Floyd. Waters hauled it in, broke a tackle, and went all the way again, 51 yards. 49ers were up 14-0 in a blink of an eye, not even 5 minutes into the game. Dan Dierdorf, ABC announcer, said he wanted to go back to the opening kickoff, start the game over again. But to their credit, the Chargers didn't fold immediately. Humphries ran for a first down and passed for one to Harmon to get into San Francisco territory with a first down. But next, Harmon ran himself for a first down, and he got to the 25. Means then carried it 3 straight plays, getting a first down and moving the ball inside the 10. Then Deion Sanders got called for pass interference in the end zone, and that gave the Chargers the ball at the 1. Means plowed in for the touchdown, and the Chargers made it 14-7 at the end of one quarter. Young began the next drive with a 19-yard pass to Rice over the middle. The 49ers then ran a reverse, which Rice took off the right side for a first down to the Chargers' 41. Taylor made a spectacular catch for a first down at the 30, and Young cut the distance between the Niners and the end zone in half on a scramble. That was 15 yards. Young got another first down on a sneak. Then he threw the Floyd over the middle for a 5-yard touchdown to make it 21-7. Now, Rice was apparently injured on the reverse, so he came out of the game, went to the locker room. Meanwhile, defensive tackle Dana Stubblefield sacked Humphries, and the Chargers had the punt again. But since Rice was out of the game with that injury, Niners offense didn't look as strong, and they ended up punting as well. The Chargers, though, went nowhere for another possession, and Adam Walker of the 49ers almost blocked the punt. In fact, he got a hand on it, but it took a very good bounce and went 41 yards to midfield. Rice came back into the game, and the San Francisco offense looked unstoppable again. Young threw for a first down to Jones. Then he found Rice over the middle for another first down. Taylor got a short pass, and then Rice hauled one in and made a nice move, got to the 15-yard line. Few plays later, Young threw to Waters on the left side for an 8-yard touchdown, and the 49ers lead ballooned to 28-7. Now, the Chargers at least tried to make a game of it. Humphries threw to Shea for a first down at the 45. Then receiver Son Jefferson ran a reverse to get into San Francisco territory. Running back Eric Bieniemy caught a screen and went down to the 13, which set up a field goal. Kicker John Carney made a 31-yard field goal, and the Chargers pulled within 18, which, of course, 18 points. That was the point spread for this game. The 13-3 49ers were favored to win this game by 18 points. Young attempted to lead the 49ers downfield for more points. He threw to Jones and Rice for first downs, and Waters got the ball as far as the 29 before San Francisco had to settle for a field goal try. Perhaps the only weak link in the 49ers roster was their kicker, Doug Bryan. He missed a 47-yard field goal attempt wide, to the right, and short. Humphries threw a 9-yard pass to Jefferson. Then the Chargers called timeout with 24 seconds left. 2 plays later, Humphries went for the home run ball to Martin. He was intercepted by defensive back Eric Davis in the end zone on a play that almost certainly would be ruled an incompletion today. Davis clearly did not have the possession of the ball long enough. Nevertheless, it stood, and the 49ers went to the locker room with a 28-10 lead. The Chargers started the second half with a 3-and-out. Young got the ball back at his own 38 and immediately threw for a first down to Rice. After defensive end Rayleigh Johnson picked up a sack of Young, the quarterback found Rice over the middle to make up for it and get a first down to the 32. Taylor caught one for another first down as the 49ers moved the ball down inside the 10. Waters then burst for a 9-yard touchdown run, scoring a Super Bowl record tying third touchdown. The 49ers now led 35-10. Humphries and the Chargers went nowhere again. Then San Francisco got the ball back. Floyd started to drive with a 9-yard catch before running for a first down on the next play. A pass interference call gave the 49ers another first down. Next, it was Waters running off the right side. He got another first down. And then it kept on going because Steve Young scrambled for a first down. And then he fired over the middle to Jerry Rice, 15-yard touchdown, 42-10. On the most exciting play of the entire game, Andre Coleman returned the ensuing kickoff 98 yards for a touchdown. It was tied for the longest kickoff return in Super Bowl history with Fulton Walker's return in Super Bowl XVII. This record wouldn't last long. It only it would get broken 2 Super Bowls from here. The Chargers then did something no team in Super Bowl history had done before. They went for 2. It was the first year of the 2-point conversion in the NFL. Humphries converted the very first one in a Super Bowl with a pass over the middle to Shea to cut it to 42-18. The 49ers went 3-and-out, but the Chargers couldn't respond. Tight end Alfred Pupunu caught a pass 1 yard short of a first down, and on 4th down, Bobby Ross said, "Let's go for it." But Natron Means couldn't get the first down. He tried going to his right. The 49ers blew it up. He cut all the way back to his left, still nowhere to go. And the 49ers just swarmed on him, tackled him for a loss, and the Chargers turned it over on downs. Waters ran a few times with the ball, getting it down to the 7 because they were already in great field position. Young threw a touchdown pass to Rice to the left side, and the 49ers got to exactly 49 points, a fact that thrilled me as a child. I was always, I just loved that fact. The 49ers scored 49 points. Moreover, Young set the record with 6 touchdown passes in a single game, and Rice tied his own record with 3 touchdown receptions in one game. The 49ers led 49-18, and Young could get that monkey off his back. The Chargers made things interesting when it came to the 18-point spread, though. First, Humphries threw a 30-yard touchdown pass to Martin, while 49ers head coach George Seifert was being drenched in Gatorade. Pupunu caught a 2-point conversion pass to make it 49-26. Then the Chargers got the ball again in the final minute and ABC announcer Al Michaels began to get excited. He gave some not so subtle hints that lots of people were interested in how the final seconds would go down. It was hilarious. But there's no bad beat this time. Humphrey's final pass went out of the end zone. The 49ers won up 49-26. They won by 23 points and covered the spread. Steve Young was named MVP of this game, and there's no arguing it. He threw for 325 yards, ran for 49 yards to lead all rushers, set 2 records: most touchdown passes in a game with 6, most rushing yards by a quarterback with 49. There's just no way to pick anyone else. As a second best award, I'd have to give it to Rice for his 10 catches for 149 yards and 3 touchdowns, all marks that would have won him MVP in nearly every other Super Bowl. But for this one, Young got that monkey off his back in a big way, and he tightly squeezed that Lombardi trophy after the game in sheer relief. The best player on the losing team was kickoff returner Andre Coleman. He set a Super Bowl record for most kickoff return yards with 242, and he scored on the record-tying 98-yard kickoff return. There wasn't a single Charger player who really excelled on this day besides him. If I were to give out a least valuable player award, probably have to go to Humphreys because he was the quarterback. He completed less than half his passes and was picked off twice. But really, the Chargers had no chance in this game. He wasn't the only reason his team lost. The Chargers were just so inferior to San Francisco that they never had a chance from the coin toss, really. The biggest play of this game, well, it had to be Young's 44-yard touchdown pass to Rice on the game's opening drive. After that, it was over. 49ers had the game in the bag from the very start. The Chargers could not compare to them, simply. As for the biggest play you don't even remember, well, how about Rice's reverse in the second quarter we talked about? Because it did set up a touchdown, but then it backfired in that Rice was injured on the play, and then the 49ers failed to score in the next possession. So in a weird way, it was the biggest play of the game in that it swayed the game in both directions, but ultimately Rice did come back into the game. So, the rest was history. I mean, he ended up with 3 touchdowns, 2 of them after that injury. So, it's hard to come up with any other play that was very important since it was such a blowout. The best player you don't remember? Probably defensive back Tim McDonald for the 49ers. He was a very solid player for the 49ers over the years, and he made a lot of big plays in playoff games. He may not have had a starring role in this Super Bowl, but he definitely deserves recognition for his play. He was part of a defense that included linebacker Ken Norton Jr., who had won the last 2 Super Bowls in a row with Dallas. That made him the first player in Super Bowl history to win the big game 3 consecutive years. And yes, that is the answer to today's pop quiz question. For these more recent Super Bowls, I'm having a hard time finding books focused on the teams involved, simply because it didn't happen all that long ago. So this time I recommend for you to read the Sporting News' complete Super Bowl book, which came out right after this Super Bowl. It has all the information you want to know on all the first 29 Super Bowls, especially this one, and even a little on the pre-Super Bowl NFL championships. Next time, for the 3rd time in Super Bowl history, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. One of these teams will join the newly minted San Francisco 49ers as 5-time Super Bowl champions. And they'll do it down in the desert in the first Super Bowl to take place in Arizona. So we've come to the end here, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. My website is TommyAPhillips.com. You can find all of my books there. And until next time, so long.
We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.